Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
And welcome, folks. Welcome to another exciting edition of Treasure Talk.
It is indeed.
And we got an awesome guest tonight, for sure, representing one of the top beach, relic, and I guess gold prospecting detectors now. So,
yep,
with that new Coil,
indeed.
for sure. Yes.
Yep.
So,
yes, indeed. It's going to be exciting news. Exciting news.
Yes, for sure. And I guess I ought to do our housekeeping real quick, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
All righty. As always, folks, today's show is brought to you by your friends here at Myers Metal Detectors, where we sell fun and adventure. And of course, the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed here by the Treasure Talk guests and members belong solely to the guest and member, not necessarily to Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Monin. It's a lot to say, isn't it? And of course, the purpose of Treasure Talk is to promote the hobby of treasure hunting and metal detecting and or treasure hunting all forms, metal detecting, and to educate our members in a fun, informative manner. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Oh yeah,
and I know I could probably take a minute or so and talk about some special, but let's do some specials on that product right behind me right there. So I have that right? Yeah. Got to use the right hand or the left hand. XP Deus products. We're just going to, if you want to get an XP Deus metal detector, we're going to take 10% off the price of it. So we're just going to put them on special. And
do yourself a favor and get one.
Yes. If you want to get the thin gold chain, yeah, do that. And then also, where's that piece at? We ran a film last week of Carter's, and I have one of the. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. Snake would have bit me. This is the detector hanger. What did he call it? A hip hanger? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like a tether.
Yes, so you can. And I think this would be a cool item to have when you're out in the water with it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I know some folks who use their wired waterproof headphones as their tether, and that's not necessarily the best thing. That'll pull on that cord a lot and cause you have some problems down the road if you're doing that with your headphones. So this would hook to your waist. Ooh, pull my own headphones off, and you wouldn't lose your detector. It'd be right there with you. So that's a cool product, and I haven't got it on my website yet, but I know that Jim Bicorn said he wanted one of my cool hats, and he wanted a couple of these. So we've got them in stock now. Just call me tomorrow.
Well, it's for even if you're dirt digging, it's very handy.
Yeah, to be able to let go.
A lot of times you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to get down
and use your shovel, and it just hooks your detector right to your belt. So that's kind of a cool little item, and it's I think they're $9.95. So it's really inexpensive thing to keep your detector tethered to you, especially in the water. That's going to work out.
Very good idea. Very, very, very good idea. So yes. What else you got on special?
Oh, we have the Naka triple score back in stock. That one sold out for us for a little while. That one is $479. Of course, we got the XP product. So if you want something XP, just holler at us. We got that. We still have the Manicore on special. That's $500 off on that one. So we got a lot of good deals. Come in and check us out, or just call me on the phone if you got something that you need. Just give me a ring and we'll get it shipped out to you.
Very good. Very good. Now, coming up on the show, next week we're going to have Steve from Steve's Detector Rods. And he's going to put together a little video on why you need a custom shaft for your detector, how he goes about measurements and how important they are. So it's going to be a really good show um, then. And then we come up to the Worldwide Digging Report, which has become our most popular feature. And we're very, very, very pleased to announce we're having a new team join us as a reporter from England. Derek and Angie are going to be our newest team reporting on what's been going on in England. So that'll be a good deal for us. For there's a lot of you folks over there that like to know what's they're finding in England, what the digging conditions are, because you may be planning a trip. So they're going to join us, and it's just going to make it all the much better. So I got a little surprise for you right now. We're talking with Merrill. Merrill's our guest tonight, as you might know, and with the XP Deus 2, the new HF coil. Now, check this out.
All right, behold, this is the Higgs boson of metal detecting. That is about a millimeter thick. Watch this. 1 millimeter gold chain the long way. Not bunched up, the long way. Watch this. No problem. Do I have your attention?
Yeah, he's got my attention, Jeff, on that. That's pretty impressive, and I can see we had some comments already. People waiting on the coil, and just so you guys know, they've sent the dealers out last week, it was a little over a week ago. One, and then they just sent me another one, and I'd see someone just asked about it. Now I can't remember. Darn it. Boy, that's
Sam Truckley.
Sam, that's right. She was asking about it. Yeah, Sam, you're on the list. You're, I think, a couple more in front of you. But we can maybe ask her, Merrill, if he knows anything about when they're going to be shipping. I know that coil is hot all over the world. So I'm waiting to see when they're going to have a big production of them out so we can get our order shipped out. So we'll see. We can ask Merrill about that. Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't.
Okay, here we go. We got your attention, right?
Yes, we did.
Cool beans. So let's bring on Merrill. We're going to talk about Deus 2.
Hey, Digging Buddy asked.
Hey, Merrill.
On the list.
Hey, Jeff, how are you? Hey, Phil.
Hey, we're good.
Hey there.
Hey.
Yeah, Jocelyn was just asking me how long my list is on people wanting the coil, and I think I've got 12 people on the list. So it's not that, the Deus 2 is a top detector, but I don't have a real long list. And if you want to get on it, just send me an email, flphil@me.com, and we'll put you on it. Do you know anything about the production on it, when they're going to ship to U.S., a whole bunch of them?
I've been to the facility in France, and I've seen the entire thing, and it's a lot of people working very, very hard. And I know there's a lot of demand for this product. I don't see it, without. I'm not even going to say by the end of the year. I would guess. This is a guess. Nobody said anything. I would guess by the end of the summer, things are going to be good. If you want one, I think it'll be pretty speedy by then. Would be my guess.
We got it already, Josh. Yeah, I saw. That's kind of a digging buddies. What's with the weird new XP prototype leak machine? Fact or fiction? We were just talking about that. I don't think it's real. I think we're talking about a detector that you didn't see any new detector at XP, did you?
Well, I'll say this. You guys might know if you've watched my channel for a while, I've been away more than I ever have before. And I want to thank everybody for their patience with me. When your family needs you, your family needs you. I don't think it should be that much longer with me. Big thanks to XP. They've been so patient with me, too. Now, that gets us to this question. Do I know anything about a new machine? I think they've been very considerate of me and my time because my family needs me. I know when I went to France, I met engineer after engineer. XP's progressive. This new coil that came out, you could kind of think of it as a new machine. You really have to think outside the box when you're talking about XP, because this is doing what no other metal detector, maybe outside of a gold detector, could do. You know, a VLF machine doing this hasn't happened. Now it has, in terms of getting that gold chain or turning it into a gold detector. This is unprecedented work, and it's different. It's not just repackaged fluff. It's something that is progressive, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, and I think that that coil that's probably why it's really hot and high in demand now, because the people who are just looking for gold now can use that XP Deus 2 to find really small gold targets.
Gives you a new
Gold prospect.
dimension.
Yes.
This time, a year and a half ago, they added a GPS to it with Go Terrain. Like, that's the cool thing about like XP. When you buy something, it's going to continue to evolve. Like that GPS is also on the Deus 1, 15 years after it initially came out.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah,
keeps evolving.
yeah, it's cool. And I just think that for gold prospecting, that's going to be a new hot area for the Deus 2 also.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So tell the folks how many different detectors you ran over that chain.
All of them. I owned a total of 23 detectors. You know, I'm not going to like list names. You guys can go back on my channel. You know, it's just, it would be unfair if I did, because you know, nobody's here to say, hey, well, we can, but none of them got this. I'll say this. I tested that chain when the frequency max was 45 with the Deus 2, and it was not hitting it. And this is the evolution of the Deus 2. You know, it keeps evolving, new possibilities. When you buy a product from XP, you don't know if you don't have the finished product. It's always going to evolve some more.
Yeah, well, you got the 2-box system for that detector too. Some
That's right.
people will use that. Well, I think that's the Extreme Hunter, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Plus, you could dive with it. It's the most versatile machine on the market. I mean, I really don't think there's even a debate on that. In terms of like use, what you could do with the machine, there might be other machines that say they have a gold mode, but if it runs high frequencies, if it doesn't run high frequencies, I mean, is it really a gold detector? No. It's like you know, you see those cars like zipping by. I don't want to pick. I'll just say Honda Civic. Fine. I'm not in the car market, but some people call that a sports car. Nah, no, 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 no.
No,
Sorry,
it's not.
Civic folks. I hope I
But
didn't.
one thing I will say for the HF coil, my friend the Mumbles man got the first one. He was the first one on Phil's list, and he has found that it sounds off. He's finding a lot more small jewelry, stud earrings, this type of thing. He says it just bangs on them. Smaller gold, and a lot of the smaller items that sometimes we miss with the 11-inch coil. So another thing he found, and this is just, you know, we're water hunters. And even this would pertain to you land hunters as well. When you have the smaller coil, you slow down, and because you're not covering as much ground, so you tend to slow down. And I think if you do that, your fines rate will go way up, and that's what I'm thinking is going to happen with the new HF coil. It's going to make us work the water slower.
I had a shock moment when I found a wheat scent in my backyard. I've hit that with every detector that I own. I'd like to think I have a pretty efficient swing. I don't see a possibility that I didn't swing over it. I was saying to Jeff and Phil before, I've seen that phenomenon in parks too. And of course, there's like freeze and thaw cycles with dirt. And, you know, of course, the masking that happens with iron. And my backyard had a chicken coop from like the early 1900s. So, yeah, it's got iron out there. But I just hit a new signal, like clear as day. And, you know, wheat scent just popped up, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty awesome. And it really was not that deep too.
Well, that chicken coop wire from 100 years ago could be still be in the ground there. That really is going to make your ground kind of hot with that there. I know what that's all about too. We did have a question on the 3.08 update. Are you running the new update, or you're running the?
I think it was up to 304. I'm on 304 right now. Remember Digging Buddy? So this year, and it's going to end soon. This year, I'm a little bit behind with everything. I just updated to 304 about 2 days ago. XP texted me and it's like, yep, we got the new update. I updated right away. I did not see, 308.
Now, I think what that was a chain in the chat. Somebody said they're going to update to 3.08, and they want to say there's already a 308 because everybody's going, well, there's, every other day there's a new update. There's no 3.08 update. The latest update is 3.4.
There's got to be updates because, like, if you think about it, this is a different type of launch. Like, this is something that has not been done. A VLF detector that runs like high frequencies. This is uncharted waters. This is the kind of stuff that makes me really excited to work for XP because, it's progressive stuff. It's stuff that hasn't been done. If you're in new territory, there probably will be more updates, because we want it to be absolutely perfect.
Well, it looks like we got a question there from JR 2 Mile Honey Company. He says, I don't have the new coil. Should I update? I'm currently running 2.0.
I forget which one it was. I think it's this. You will lose your program, so you might want to, just to disclose that. I lost mine, and I was like, OMG, and I went back to my videos for the ones that I are like go-tos. So just be aware of that. But my answer is yes. And the amount of resources that XP puts onto their updates, to make their detectors better. I couldn't even believe like the number of engineers that I saw and met when I was in France. This company is very serious about being number one, offering the most out of all detectors that are on the market. I really think that we do. And if there's something that could evolve further, chances are we're pretty far along on that path to getting it there. I think XP has proven it's a progressive company, and you want to update with it. Is my point.
Yeah, it just because you don't have the HF coil doesn't mean you shouldn't update, because there's other bug fixes in that update that's going to enhance any of the programs that you run. So, yeah, they're updating it specifically for the HF coil, but they did that too for the Extreme Hunter and everything. So do the updates. And I don't have the coil yet, and I did the updates, and I tell you what, that sucker runs smooth in the water, not a peep until you hit a target. So I had absolutely zero problems with it. So do the updates, people.
Yeah, I think it's just good housekeeping. Keep your detector up to date, so when a new coil comes out, you can just pop it right on and get going with it. So
yeah,
I'd say
do the updates.
Yeah, and clean your detector when you're done with it, especially if you've been in salt water.
Yes.
I was thinking about that with the HF coil. Like think of the engineering that has to go into that, because whenever you're on the beach, what happens if you bring a magnet and drag it along the sand? You get the little shards of iron that get caught. Your magnet gets a beard. What does an HF coil do? It's designed to get smaller targets that are less conductive. And, in order to do that, like, doing it on the beach, you're full of, there's tens of millions of grains of iron sand that is like in a small square on a beach. So to be able to get the small targets, but not have it get too much affected by the iron or the salt, like that's art right there. That's very difficult to do.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
another thing is you take that coil, just like what Merrill said, he took it out in his yard that he's pounded with how many different detectors.
23.
And all of a sudden, bang. Yeah, it's only a weedy, but he didn't find it with the other detectors, including his Deus 2. So with the updates, they make all the processing in any of the programs a little sharper. You got the HF coil, and you're going to find stuff that you're not finding before. That's why it's an update. It's called advancement. So do yourselves a favor. If you're not running an uh, XP product, call Phil 813-237-1939. Get a Deus 2. You'll be very, very happy you did. That you could. I mean, it's a turn on and go machine too. Don't let anybody ever kid you that you can't do that. If they say you can't, then they're kidding themselves and everybody else. Get yourself an XP Deus 2. You'll be glad you did.
And I'm reading the comments. One from Derek Sherwin. I'm running a new update on the stock 9-inch coil, and I'm getting great results. So I think when you update, go over some of the same properties, see if you miss some stuff. And it looks like Louis Villarreal says, so remove your skid plate and clean it. Yes, that's always a
Definitely. Very good
I
idea.
think, what's up, Luis? How are you? I think that's especially true with the HF coil. Like if you think of like I'm going to just throw out an analogy, SR-71 Blackbird. If you put fuel on it when it's on the ground, it leaks fuel. It's designed to do that because the temperatures make it expand and like fit perfectly. And they had to design that. I'm not saying this is the SR-71 Blackbird, but I'm saying for a metal detecting coil, like what had to be solved in order to create this, it is pretty profound. Small targets, but the Earth's crust is full of small metals, but to calibrate it so that it gets those small targets or targets with eddy problems. For instance, that chain, it has an eddy problem. Receiver coil, transmitter coil, and sending the signal, receiving the signal, and being able to pick up an object like a gold chain, which is a series of links, and not get ground feedback. That is art. That is seriously art.
Absolutely. And it looks
It
like
is.
Detecting Adventure says, I remove my skid plate and clean it after every hunt. Yeah, you should. Even with the Deus 2, with the new carbon fiber shafts, with everything, you should take that apart and clean it so it doesn't saltwater weld it, especially you're hunting in the water and saltwater, because you could weld it in place, even with carbon fiber.
And even if you're not, if you're a dirt digger, every week, 2 weeks, it don't take nothing to release that cam lock, take the shaft out, and clean it. Run some water on it because you get dirt and grime in there, and it will deteriorate your shaft. It'll deteriorate the cam lock. And in my opinion, XP has got the best cam lock on the market. So take care of your machines, people. Don't take but about a minute and a half.
Yeah, now this is a comment from Sam Truckley. She said, we joined the lifetime membership for the LDMA and the GPAA and got a MineLab Goldmaster. The coil is so tiny. We're going to test in some rocks with quartz we found. And when they get their Deus 2 coil, they'll be able to compare it to another detector. And that's good because that Deus 2 is running. What was the highest frequency it has on that coil, Merrill?
If you go mono, it's going to be 120.
120 kilohertz. That's like twice, I think like the gold bug and some of the other gold prospecting detectors, they're the highest they go, I think, is 60 kilohertz, if I'm not mistaken. So that's super high. And then multi, you said 89?
89. Yep.
Yeah. So that's pretty
That's why
impressive.
it bangs the gold.
Yes, that's very impressive. So even a multi for gold prospecting, I would have to imagine that detector will outclass all the 60 kilohertz detectors. Would
I
that
mean, it goes to show, like, you can say you have a gold mode, like a lot of old detectors that I've had, it has a mode that says gold. Is it really a gold mode if it doesn't run those frequencies? No, it's not. It's like, that's where I went Honda Civic before. Okay, I'm being mean. Stop it, Merrill. Stop being mean.
Well, it's an HF BMW. Let's just put it that way.
There you go.
Oh goodness! So tell us your experience so far with the coil. Have you been using it for coin and relic hunting, beach hunting? Tell us your thoughts on it.
I the majority of my detecting in 2025 up until this month has been testing this thing. And I gave a lot of feedback to XP, over here, because the ground is different in all different parts of the world, and perspectives. It's important. Um, it really has been a battle to get out this year for me. This is a temporary thing. This past weekend, I got my first gold with it and my first natural chain with it. I mean, that chain that from the video, I mudlarked that from Dead Horse Bay. That wasn't pulled by any detector. But when I tested detectors, that was one of the first targets I would run through. Nobody got it. You'd get a peep with it. If you were in 45 with, Goldfield, which is a very open program, but very good on tough ground. But now we're talking about some of the programs, that gold chain, the long way stretched out, not balled up. If you put it in Goldfield now, you could get it like a few inches away from the coil, and it's still going to hit that. That's an accomplishment.
Absolutely. So small golds and small nuggets and that kind of stuff is really going to sound off if you'll hit that chain like
Yep.
that. So no, you haven't found any really old coins with it other than your wheat penny in your yard.
This is an outlier year for me. And, the amount of detecting that I've done this year is definitely down. But I'm looking forward to just like hitting that button. I have a video that's ready to come out on my channel where I got that first gold. Actually, I'm ruining the surprise. First and second gold of the year. I got lucky in two different spots. And I went out with the quarter hoarder crew earlier this year, and this was before I had the HF coil. So I got to do that. That is always amazing. And I tested the coil different places, and when you test, you dig stuff up. Didn't necessarily make video, but I go a little bit, and I would send it to XP and give my feedback on it. And it's a good, to say the least, it's a great product. It's a different product. It's got its quirks. One thing that I hear, I've read this, and I'll address it without even somebody asking me. The target IDs, if you're somebody who is like nuts about target IDs and are used to the target IDs, you're gonna have to grow with this. And the reason for this is because it's almost like the upper end of the target ID scale got pinched into a range, because like, what does high frequency do? Like, what types of targets is it good at finding? The stuff that are lower on the conductivity scale, which of course is gold, but also aluminum, which, curb your enthusiasm a little bit if you're talking about like a trashy park. It might even be better to stay in the 29 if you're doing a trashy park. But if you think about it, the size of the coil is different. You could get in between the targets. So it is something, there is a utility for that for sure. But it's made for the medium scale of the range. And how do you highlight that? You pinch the other stuff so that you could fit it in. And when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is going to take a little bit getting used to with the target IDs. But now it's logical, because it's made for those, medium scale targets in terms of conductivity.
Okay. Well, so it's not as accurate because everything's geared for the lower shoot. The higher frequencies are geared for the lower conductivity aluminum and gold. Really.
What I've learned, like especially after starting to work at XP, is that these are programmed. There's something called the phase shift that happens when transmit receive happens, and the eddies in the object are excited and then read by the detector, and that response, that signature gets turned into it gets programmed as numbers. So you could do a lot with it. And what is XP doing? I mean, I think that they're going to listen to people, but
Yeah.
in terms of the best capability of the coil, I think we're going towards education and like growing people with that. It might take a little bit of an adjustment, but there's a utility to that. And it's not that it's like I've seen that, and I think there was a video that came out about that, like the target ID scale, blah blah blah. No, just give it a chance, grow with it a little bit, and be aware that this is a tool that is like hyper fixed on those medium scale targets. And how do you get a deeper understanding of that? You pinch the upper end of the range, and you spread out the middle part of the range. But it's also something that could be adjusted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a couple questions here. The first one from James Habovic. He says, Merrill, I'm a pretty new at metal detecting. I am a beach hunter. Does a smaller coil give you deeper targets?
Smaller coil will not, but here's something that everybody forgets with the HF coil. We seem to know that high frequencies don't go as deep as lower frequencies. But here's the thing, this does run lower frequencies at the same time. For instance, and I knew this question would come up, I have it right here. When the max is at 27 kilohertz, the low end of the range is going to be 9 kilohertz. When you're at 53 kilohertz, the low end of the range is going to be 17 kilohertz. And when you're up to 90 kilohertz, the low end of the range is going to be 17 kilohertz. So those go deeper. And I mean, it's got, let's put it this way, on the beach, and I'm about to say this in the video that I was going to release this past weekend, and I just have a little bit more to do. I was getting 11, 12-inch targets. I'm comfortable saying that. The salt in the sand, the reason you could go deeper at the beach than on dirt, it's because of the salt. Because the salt brings the signal, it enhances the conductivity of anything. It carries the charge further. So you're able to go further. I'm not saying that you could get 11 or 12 inches in the dirt. I would estimate, I don't know, 7 or 8, if 7, I'll say, as a conservative estimate. But it's not really meant to be, that pound through the dirt type of coil. And we do have that. I mean, you have videos of people, with the 13-inch coil or even the 11, getting in absolute perfect conditions, perfect tuning of the detector, 19 inches, 20 inches. XP has that on their channel. I cite that video a lot. Dirt's a little bit different in New York. The furthest I've ever been able to go is, maybe 15 or 16, and that's still quite a pull.
That's because there's a body in the way.
Right, exactly. So this coil, it's almost like, I was given a plain analogy before. I said SR-71 Blackbird. Maybe the SR-71 Blackbird is the 13-inch coil. It just could like pound deep into the earth. This is what the A-10 Thunderbolt. It's the one that everybody on the battlefield like absolutely runs from, because it's just got like guns, and it's got firepower, and missiles can shoot it, and it doesn't come down. There's a utility to that plane too. It's nowhere near as fast as the SR-71 Blackbird, but perhaps it's used more. And a lot of our targets, whether we like it or not, they fall within that 1 to 7 inch range.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened in my backyard with that wheat penny? It got masked. Perhaps this unmasked it. Like, this is in my own yard where I've used 23 detectors. This is just a different take on metal detecting, and it's unprecedented. It really is.
That's right.
Um,
The HF coils, the B2 Stealth.
there you go.
There you
Great.
go. Well, we got another question, Merle. This is a good one from Moose in New York. He says, do you still charge up the new HF coil? If so, how long does it take to charge it?
I'm charging it right now. I've never counted. I think they had that on the site. Where is it? There it is.
There we see.
Charging it right now. Oh, and it finished charging. I put that in before. It's not going to be 3 hours. I think I remember on the site 6. I'm terrible with like recalling statistics like that. I'm always terrible with that. Let's just say to be safe, 3 to 6 hours. I'll look that up. Or maybe somebody. We have a lot of smart people here. I know I should know this cold right now, but charge time, I'm blanking. Wait, here, hold on.
Is it possible for the XP to do a PI call for the day too? Well, in the Deus programming, you have the Beach P. That's like running a pulse, but I don't see they're going to run a PI coil on that. Let me turn that off. Okay. And it looks like we had a comment from the Mumbles man, Tim Naylor. He says the Deus coil definitely goes deep, for darn sure. All righty.
So we're going to do a giveaway tonight, right, Phil?
Yeah, we want to do a swag pack. Let's do that.
That's right. And it's also to include.
We're going to give him a towel.
The coveted towel.
Treasure Talk towel.
That's right.
Yeah.
And who knows what other kind of stuff Big Poppy will throw in the bag.
Yeah, whatever he puts in there.
That's
and,
right.
He's a big-time Deus user. I know he's going to want that coil for sure. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to pop this up here. This is what you put in, just as it reads. Put that in the chat to be entered into the giveaway. So I'll leave that up for a second. So it's another amazing thing, the way the charging is on the HF coil, and it is waterproof. That gets in that coil. I think you can still dive with that, can't you, Merrill?
Yes.
I mean, it's just like the other coils down to what, 200 feet or some kind of stupid depth.
Yeah. So it's 66 feet. I'll say this. What you need to know. Oops. Wait. Hold on. Apparently, I turned this on. Hold on. OCD. Wow. I charged it with the machine on. Okay. I'm doing a ring recovery after this, so yeah, I'm like ready to do that. All right, so with this, like how you have the thing that you put on here and the antenna. So the antenna you could slide on with the other coils and have no problem. And that little band, it looks like a hair tie that you put on there. You're going to need that band in order to fasten it, because there's not enough space like in here to just slide this on. So you have to put the antenna here and then fasten it with that little loop. So that's something you should know if you're going to dive or take this in the water.
And also, I have another little doodad that I bought from the Netherlands, strictly for that, because what I used to do when you're hunting in the water, if you're hunting properly, you're rubbing the bottom with your coil. That tends to wear the rubber band out. So I put the rubber band on, plus I used to wrap it with electrical tape. That kind of got gummy, so I saw these little jugers, and these are available. If you see what I'm holding up, that is a clip that goes right over the antenna, and it clips on the underside of the coil.
Wow.
It holds it snugly in place. Now, these are, I'm sure they're, 3D printed or whatever it is, and they come from the Netherlands. It takes you a couple of 3 weeks to get it. They're on Etsy, but I found this to be really good addition. It holds very snugly.
Yeah, it's a cool product. Hey, Merle, we did have a question from, and darn it, it's gone. Oh, from Dave Taylor. Can it pick up a thin rope chain? That's a good question. Can it? But all chains are different thicknesses, so it's kind of hard to.
Can you show them remember that clip that I sent you at the beginning? They might have missed the beginning of the video. The answer,
Okay.
if I'm thinking of thin rope chain the same way as you mean it, I think the answer would be yes.
Let
Yeah.
me find it here. I'll find it in 1 second.
Sorry to put you on the spot there. In the meantime,
Oh,
I see we got my buddy Terry Shannon here. Look at what I got, Terry. So we gave one of these away in the giveaway. Your friend sent me this, and we got all of your books here. So we got a great in the audience right here.
Yes, he is. I saw Terry in there.
Okay, here's the video, Merrill.
All right, behold, this is the Higgs boson of metal detecting. That is about 1 millimeter thick. Watch this. 1 millimeter gold chain the long way. Not bunched up, the long way. Watch this. No problem. Do I have your attention?
So it does hit that chain real hard. So I imagine a rope chain would. Sometimes those rope chains can be, even though they're thin, they can be kind of on the inside solid. So
Yes, they can.
yeah.
So at least you could have done though, Merrill, is get on a decent sidewalk, man. There, I tell you what, there's got to be a body buried underneath that sidewalk.
Well, we know there's no rebar in it because of it all cracked like that. So that's good that you used that one. Oh, this is a good question.
I'm going to cry. That's my backyard.
Digging Buddy's asking what
the chicken coop.
what program were you running on the D2?
I always call it Fat Sensei. Every time I see Fast Sensitive, I just see Fat Sensei. So I call it Fat Sensei. Fast Sensitive.
And then Beep Quest, my buddy Tripp's asking, is the Deus 2 with the new coil better than the Manicore? Serious question. I guess somebody's got to do a head-to-head test on it to decide which would be better,
They've been doing it, and I will tell you, my opinion only, there's nothing out there that will rival the Deus 2. Manicore is a good machine, but I'm going to tell you, it's not as versatile as the Deus 2. So that's just my opinion. Deus 2 with any of the coils.
Shade, like at anybody. If you own 23 detectors before, do you think you'd be willing to compromise that? Like you want the best if you do that. What I love about XP is they're progressive. This coil is an example of that. The Extreme Hunter is an example of that. Go Terrain is an example of that. And it's the most versatile detector on the market. It has the most uses for the most terrains, finding the most different types of targets. There's a lot of good detectors that are on the market. And I heard the founder of XP say this. We're thankful for that because it helps push us. What I love about XP, they want to be number one. And I think that's clear. It's not just words, it's actions. It's actions.
Absolutely.
That is true. And I believe that Deus, XP Deus is number one in Europe, and they're coming for the American market to be number one, and they're well on their way. I have to tell you.
They chose the dorkiest teacher to represent them, but I'm thankful that they did.
Well, certain people just come cheaper than others, Merrill. What can I tell you?
So.
Oh, goodness.
Dang, Jeff, why don't you tell me how you really feel?
Okay, this is one that Digging Buddy is full of questions. And what's the accessories for the D2 don't exist on any other platforms? Uh,
I'm not sure what you mean.
I'm not either. And please expand on that, Digging Buddy.
Digging Buddy,
Tell us
let me say
exactly
hi
what
first
you
of
mean.
all. I've seen, you've watched my channel, you've commented for a long time. I want to say, hey, and we'll definitely answer that after we get after I understand the question.
Yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
asking, can you use like XP coils on other detectors? That would be a no.
That's a big
No.
no on that.
No. Two box system, bone conductors. Okay, so yeah, XP has got a number of accessories. Is that where you mean, Digging Buddy? That no
Yeah.
other platforms have the amount of accessories, I think is what he means. And that is true. You look at all the accessories that XP Deus has, and they were the first ones, I think, to come out with that killer backpack. And, for the Deus one, you had all the coils and plus various other things. They're the only one that came out with the bone conductive headphones. So, yeah, they're pretty ahead of the game. I understand the question real good now.
Yeah, those bone conductive headphones, Jeff and I were talking about there earlier. I kind of like them. I like getting jolted when I hit some iron. It just wakes me up. But it's nice that you can wear any hat you want if you're out in the water. You can wear any hat, a cowboy hat, a big sombrero, whatever you want to cover your
Gulf of
face.
America.
And yeah, Gulf of America hat. Yeah, you can wear any hat you want and not have any problems with it. Not just be stuck with wearing a ball cap. You can wear
I've got data on it. I took an IQ test before and after. I went up 2 points after using the bone conductive headphones. Of course, I had to go over some targets, gave it a good shake. It's really cool because you feel it. You don't only hear it, you feel it.
you
And
feel
it's
it.
something
Yes.
that you got to experience.
And you feel the iron.
Yeah.
And I was telling Jeff, it's like when you get close to those electric wires for the horses to keep them in a pen, like touching one of those, it jars you awake when you hit some iron sometimes. So, it keeps
And
you.
another one to go along with the Digging Buddy, that they agree that XP Deus has the most accessories on the market out of any company. So
Yeah, for sure.
That's an important point because I think what XP is trying to do is they're trying to do it within one detector, but it's not like for show. Like it's real utility, like real use. For instance, Extreme Hunter goes down 16 feet. There's no other detector that's not in the same configuration that can match that. We might even have, I'm just being diplomatic, we might even have the depth. I don't know. I'm guessing. My point is it's a part of the Deus too. Like that Extreme Hunter, it's not a separate machine. You change it with the Deus 2 remote and you use that. It becomes a part of the Deus 2. It becomes a coil. The HF coil, it's like on the total opposite end of the spectrum is that. It gets super small targets. You could turn it into something that dives. It's got a GPS. I'm forgetting something, but it is extremely, extremely versatile.
it is indeed. It is indeed. So let's do a giveaway. So we'll get this up there. You ready, Philip?
Hey,
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and do it. And while we're doing that, we did have a comment. Dirt cloud metal detecting. I heard it can be difficult to learn how to use the DS2. What is the best way to start out? That's a good question for you, Merrill.
Reading the manual.
The manual you keep going back to. So I'll tell you this: you'll be at 90% when you start if you stick to the programs. What the learning curve that you have to learn is the hearing, and you get like a richer audio that you can really understand the target. For instance, if you go and you look at Paystreak Super Freaks channel, everybody loves Paystreak. You will see him detecting with the Deus without the remote on it, with just the stem, because he understands the sound so well. You don't need to pinpoint, because if you back your coil up, the second that the sound disappears, that's the same thing as a pinpoint. So you
Yep.
know where to dig. You just get so used to things. And then once you reach that level, like you start at 90%, if you stick to programs, when you get to about 95, 96, you have that edge. And I would still consider myself right now, maybe at about 98. I wouldn't have been that confident to say this a year ago. It gives you a lot, but think about it. You're going to get sick of detectors that you're not going to grow with. It's a detector that you're going to grow with. And that is what's so great about the Deus 2. Plus, they're going to surprise you. 15 years after the Deus 1 came out, actually it was 14, it got a GPS on it. That's XP. They're full of surprises, and they want to be number one, and they will not stop until they are.
Well, and we do have a winner.
Yes, we do. We got,
Spectra V3i. So
Yes.
congratulations to them. Let me get rid of that.
and
And
I owned one of those V3Is. That was a good detector years ago, and people still swing it today.
yep. So Spectra, what you do is you send an email to treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. Name, address, phone number, and shirt size, please.
Send the T-shirt.
Name, address, phone number, and shirt size, please. treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. And we'll get your goodies out to you on Saturday.
And
I'll
this
leave
is
that up for a second.
yeah. Oh, I was going to pop something up, Jeff, but I can read
You
this.
can. No, pop it up.
Okay, this one from Digging Buddy said, I think some people get overwhelmed with all the custom programs you find on YouTube and Facebook. There are some good ones, but the ones built in are good to start.
You know where I'm at with that? I'm sorry to cut you off. Let me let you finish, and then I'll.
You wanna
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll put it back up. And he's saying that some people get overwhelmed with custom programs on YouTube and Facebook. The programs, I always tell people, use the stock programs for a year until you learn the detector. Myself, that's just me. I mean, other people might be more technical, could learn it quicker. But I always say use the stock programs because, like you said, the engineers at Deus and all the other companies, they know what they're doing when they create these detectors.
That's exactly what I
No.
was about to get
Plus,
into.
Let
I've had
me
the
interject something here real quick.
Sure.
What people got to understand, when all these guys on YouTube, some of them are in England, some of them are in other places, that program that they've come up with doesn't mean it's going to work for you. They come up with that for the soil that they're digging in and the type of digging they're doing. You have to experiment for your own, because they may have a tone break or something that you don't like. So do your own. Go with your manual, do your own, start with the stock programs and variances of those, because those stock programs work. Trust me on that. Make your own programs. Don't be intimidated, because you can always, you don't have to save it. You're not going to hurt it. Turn the machine off, turn it back on. You're back to your stock program. So play with your manual, play with your detector, make your own stock programs. But always remember, these people are making these programs. They're not for everybody. It's the type of soil they're hunting in.
I spent a month of my life making the video that is about to come out on the XP channel. It's going to be a good one. Make sure you watch it. My point in saying that is, with programs, it was very challenging to do, because what do I have in my head? I have the memory of going to France, meeting all the engineers, looking at all of the testing that happens. And then, okay, I have to improve that with the program. And actually you can, because it is very site specific. When you really start to get confident with the Deus is when you start to know all of the different functions. But I know that's going to, like somebody said in the comments, it's like, I'm a little bit scared to get started because that sounds overwhelming. It's really not. And let me break it down to you. I'm an Excel guy. If you look at my channel, old videos, you could do top 1,000 metal detecting channels on YouTube. I actually did that list. I have several videos on that. That's how I kind of broke into YouTube metal detecting. I provided people with that. So I'm good with data. And one of the first things that I did to study the Deus 2, knowing that I would have to make programs, is I put all of the parameters in a list, and a lot of it is listed in the manual. But my point is, you're pretty much covered with the variables. Like if you use all of the basic programs, and there's some that are ground canceling, and there's some that are frequency addition. You have to like evolve and learn a little bit about that. But once you start to see the big picture, and I think it takes you about a year, you start at 90%, but you're going to be every month with use, you're going to get better. The biggest key is learning those sounds.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly. And we've got a comment from Derek Sherwin from England. He says the Skill School on YouTube has an excellent series of lessons on the Deus 2. Yes,
Yes.
that is Gary Blackwell. Gary
Yes.
Blackwell, if you watch the Skill School, what he will always tell you is this works for him. It may not work for you. So to play with it. The key is to play with it. He doesn't say you're going to love this program. It's going to be the cat's whiskers for you. He never says that. He cautions you to play with it. It may not be for you. Tweak it. It's just a general base for you to work off of.
That is a phenomenal person, one of my favorites, and I've learned
indeed.
so much with him. He was so gracious with information, still is so gracious with information, and he knows that machine inside and out. That's your 100%. He's brilliant with that machine, and a great guy too. Yep, I recommend.
He is definitely.
Sure.
All right, and I had a question there. Am I going to be open tomorrow from David? And yes, David, I'm going to be here tomorrow from 10:30 to 3:30, so you can come in and pick up your new Deus 2 if you'd like, for sure. That's an awesome detector. And there was another comment, and it jumped by me too fast. So, but he was saying that he uses the stock programs, and he just loves them. So you can do whatever you want to. You can run stock programs and just be very successful. Agree, Merrill?
I was typing a comment. Could you say that one more time? I'm so sorry.
No problem. I said you can use the stock programs and be very successful.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Like you're covered with the stock programs. I have literally like plugged them into the Excel sheet, and all of the parameters are pretty much taken care of. And you kind of like pick and choose the one that you want for the given setting. You grow into one, and then you branch out into others. That's how it works.
Absolutely. And boy, there's CZ Digger. Any new XB 9x5s coils in stock, Phil? No, I'm sorry. My buddy in the upper left-hand side of the screen was on the list, and he's happy today, but nobody else is happy. But they will be coming out. You know it. They're trying. That coil is hot everywhere, and I think it's hot in the gold prospecting world too. So it might be a little while before we get them, but you'll get them for sure. Just send me an email, flphil@me, and say you want that coil, and I just have a list. I'm not taking anybody's money because I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or if it be a month from now or 2 months. So I don't want to take your money, but I do want to say this: our hour is gone, Jeff.
I know.
It went so fast, for sure.
And Merrill, I have to tell you, you had our attention, buddy. You had our attention, man.
Listen, I teach high schoolers all year, and I just this stuff I do to engage them. So I guess I guess it's over here.
So I want to say thank you to everybody who was on here tonight, and thank you to Merle, thank you to Jeff, thank you to Jocelyn, and everybody get out there and swing your metal detector or come into the shop tomorrow and pick up a Deus 2. And with that said, I'll turn it over to you, Jeff.
All righty, Merrill, thanks again for coming. I know it's been a rough month and a half or so, 2 months for you, but you always, anytime I ask, you say yes. The first words out of your mouth are yes, not I'll see what I can do. It's always yes. So we appreciate that. We thank you so much for coming and educating us on the new HF coil. I can't wait to get mine in the water, find out what's going on. So always looking forward to your videos every time they come out. And we want to thank you and tell XP they got fans over here.
Yes,
Okay?
they do.
Thank
Yes,
you,
so,
Jeff. So, thank you, everybody.
And thanks, Merrill. And we will see you again soon, everybody, next week. Steve's detector rods will be here. He's going to show us and tell us why measuring is so important. And he's going to probably do a video on how to measure and put together a custom shaft. So, and I do have a custom shaft from Steve's detector rods for my XP days too. So, learn next week. Thanks everybody for watching. Happy hunting and dig deeper. And remember, if Phil don't have it in stock, you don't need it.
Don't need it.
Did have one in stock, the HF coil, and I needed it. And he had it. So we're in. See you
It's
next
on.
week. Thanks, everybody.